All right. Hey YouTube, I'm Lucky, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over Xur's loot and location as per usual. A little bit delayed this time because, of course, the new dungeon dropped, and, you know, that's obviously a little more exciting than Xur, but there's some good stuff. Some stuff worth grabbing. He's at the tower in the hangar location, is one of 3 locations. He's got the colony exotic grenade launcher. This thing was an absolute menace earlier on in D2, but right now it's actually not that crazy. Not something you necessarily need to grab. It's kind of easy to use though, because the projectiles just crazily track onto people, so you might have some fun with that in PvP, but really not much use in PvE. Moving on, we've got the Worm Husk Crown, easily one of the best exotics for Hunter. This distribution is actually not too bad either, so could be worth grabbing if it's better than the current roll you have sitting in the vault or equipped on your Hunter, because Stompies just got nerfed, so these literally just got even better. These are probably the best exotic for your Hunter right now, and this is a pretty good roll, so you might want to grab that. Heart of Inmost Light is literally the exotic I have on my Titan at this exact moment, because this is such a good exotic and it's a part of that really OP solar build that I made. I made a video talking about that, and I also noticed that the Next Day Error made a video talking about that as well, because it's literally such a fun build. You can do that big Titan slam repeatedly over and over and over again, and this roll has extremely high resilience, which is especially good in PvE right now. If you don't know, you want 100 resilience because it gives you 40% damage resistance, so this roll is excellent. The recovery being really low does hurt a little bit. That pains me, but this is still such a good roll. Definitely worth grabbing, and definitely an exotic worth using on your Titan with Solar 3.0. Moving on to the next one, we have the Karmstein Armlets. These are actually really good for your Warlock. This roll is pretty terrible, though. The only redeemable quality of this is that it does have a good amount of strength, which pairs well with Karmstein's because it's a melee-focused exotic, but the mobility is a bit of a waste, and the low recovery is a big waste, so probably the worst exotic of the 3. Moving on to the weapons, we have the 7th Serif Sidearm with Hipfire and Snapshot. Not the best sidearm, and definitely not the best roll, so we'll say average and move on from that. Whispering Slab with Archer's Tempo Demo, not the god roll of this. Not a half bad roll though. Archer's Tempo is pretty good. Probably one of the best bow perks out there. Usually what you're looking for on most god roll bows. Demo is not necessary though, so we'll say an average roll for that. Eternal Blazing with Full Auto Disruption Break. Now the Full Auto is a big throw now that we know you can literally just equip a Full Auto mod, and in the future it'll just be an intrinsic option that you'll have in your settings, so definitely don't need that. Long Shadow with Hipfire, Explosive Payload. I don't know why you're going to run around with the Sniper and Hipfire. It could be fun or quirky playstyle, but it's definitely not effective in PvP or PvE, of course. Widow's Bite, we've got Firmly Planted, and I have the Storm. Now this is one that actually could be really good. The reason why is because the recent ADS changes to snipers have changed. These 140s have really high aim assist, and so if you get Firmly Planted, if you're crouching, you get this increased accuracy, stability, and handling. It could be really good if you were to slide or if you were to crouch when you snipe people. Eye of the Storm can be a good perk from time to time if people do hit you, but especially if you were to have like Spec into Unflinching. So there's some potential there for that to actually be pretty good. I know most people will probably be like, no way, like that thing's terrible, but there's actually some potential if you look at the perks. Like that could be a good PvP sniper if you were to handle this little bit slower ADS speed from not having Snapshot, which, you know, let me know down in the comment section below if you've been using Snapshot even after the changes, because Bungie did a big nerf to that. Moving on to the next one, we have the 7th Serif Saw. Now this is actually a really good roll right here. And machine guns got buffed this season, so I would highly recommend grabbing this. Is this the god roll? I mean, it's, if not the god roll, it's close. I think you can get auto-loading and firing line, which I personally really like auto-loading on weapons like this that have really slow reload. But Field Prep is still an excellent option because of the reserves, and you can reload faster by crouching. So this could very well be the god roll, one of the best rolls out there, and definitely worth using. So I would highly recommend to log in and grab the 7th Serif Saw, because this season could very well be like a big season for using this. In fact, I'm going to grab one just in case I don't have one sitting in my vault. Just that's how confident I am that that's going to be good this season. Moving on, we have the Royal Entry Void Rocket Launcher. Now this has Field Prep and Unrelenting. It does have the new Origin trait. Unfortunately, this is not a god roll, not even really a good roll, so you can skip past that. Now let's go on to the exotics real quick before we go back to the armor. We've got Hawk Moon, Moving Target, Dead Man's Tail, Moving Target, both the average perk to drop on that, so I wouldn't grab either of those. Now let's go into the armor. We have Gauntlets for the Titan with 26 resilience. Again, you want 100 resilience when you're on your Titan or on your Warlock or your Hunter. That damage resistance applies to all 3 classes. Of course, that caters a little bit more to Titans, just as recovery is really important, but that caters a little more to Warlocks. It's sort of a good balance that Bungie has created now with that, And so this is a really good pair of gauntlets. The low recovery is a little bit painful, but still, if you need that high resilience, if you're not quite hitting that 100 resilience mark, do yourself a favor, get in there and grab some of this armor and get to 100 resilience. Put those mods on, whatever it takes. This chest piece is pretty bad. We got high mobility, don't need that. The helmet is pretty bad, a little too much mobility on that. And then the boots are actually really good. We got 63 overall, pretty good resilience and pretty good recovery. So that's an excellent distribution there. Definitely worth grabbing those boots. Now we're going to go ahead and pull up Dim here. And we're going to look at the armor for the Hunter. For the Hunter, we have an excellent distribution of gauntlets here. This would be, I would say, more for PvP-oriented gauntlets because of the low resilience that we were talking about. You want that high resilience in PvE now. Same thing with the chest, an excellent distribution overall. And then onto the helmet, we have a 57 stat, so it's pretty low. I would not think that's worth grabbing. A little more resilience, though, but still probably a pretty bad roll there. And then another 57 stat roll, so really low. Pretty crazy resilience, though. So if you really desperately need the resilience on your Hunter, you could grab those boots. Moving on to the Warlock now. We'll see what sort of armor Xur is bringing this week. It's really cool looking at how different we approach armor now with the changes to the season. Like, resilience is like so important now. It's actually really interesting. These gauntlets have 59 stats, so a little on the lower side, but they have really good resilience and really good recovery, distribution, and discipline, which is also especially nice for a Warlock. So it's actually a pretty nice pair of gauntlets. If it wasn't 59, I would say grab it for sure. Chest, not as much with the mobility. And same thing for these helmet. It does have pretty high resilience, though, but that low recovery is going to be really painful on a Warlock. And then those boots are terrible with the really high mobility, so nothing too flashy there for those Warlock boots. That is going to be a wrap on your Xur loot and location PSA. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed, smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Later.